During his economics class at Clark Atlanta University, the scholar and educator W.E.B. Du Bois was asked by an inquisitive student for the quickest and surest way to prosperity. "What I am about to share," Dr. Du Bois replied, "you would do well to write on your heart and place in your purse. Many a ruined man dates his downfall from the day he began buying what he did not need. If you are in debt, part of you belongs to your creditors. To whom you give your money, you give your power." Now, unfortunately, Dr. Du Bois' advice is relevant to the vast majority of Americans today. 87% of U.S. households are currently carrying debt beyond their mortgages. MyFICO.com reports that on average, today's consumer has a total of 13 credit obligations on record at a credit bureau, not including their mortgage, and these include credit cards and installment loans. In my book, How to Be the Family CFO, I break debt into bad debt and better debt. It's kind of hard to call debt good, so we call it better. Better debt is debt that you use to buy an appreciating asset. Bad debt is everything else. So for example, better debt would include your mortgage, student loans for yourself, not your kids, they are not an appreciating asset, and debt to buy a business or investment. Bad debt includes home equity loans, home improvement loans, car loans, and all department store and credit card debt. So, just how much bad debt are we talking about? Well, according to the latest statistics on consumer credit from the Federal Reserve, American consumers owe about $18,654 per household. Again, a figure that does not include mortgage debt. Warren Buffett, who most people know is one of the most notable investors in the world, warns, when the tide goes out, you find out who's been swimming naked. Well, since the recession has hit, American families have felt the strain of being overextended. The tide went out and we realized they've all been swimming naked. Before you retire, get rid of all bad debt. You can't be financially independent if you still owe money to creditors. Now, I have 3 simple guidelines to keep in mind when it comes to debt. Number 1, change your attitude about money. Just because you have it doesn't mean you spend it. Number 2, be entrepreneurial. Look for other ways to make money outside of your job. And number 3, save for what you want. Don't buy things on credit. You'll find that you will buy a lot fewer things, and the ones that you do buy, you will appreciate a lot more. If you're going to get rid of all bad debt, then you have to have a plan. The first thing you want to do is list out all the bad debts you have, along with each one's corresponding interest rate and monthly payment. The second thing you're going to do is separate the secured debt from the unsecured debt. Secured debt is backed by an underlying asset. If you fail to pay, the lending institution can take the asset from you. That's called repossession or foreclosure. And common examples then would include auto loans and mortgages. Unsecured debt has no tangible item on the line as collateral, so it usually comes with a higher interest rate. Personal loans and credit cards are the most common types of unsecured debt. Now, student loans are a little murky. It seems as though it should be classified as unsecured debt since the bank can't take back your education and there is no collateral. However, stringent laws apply to student loan debt. For example, it's not dischargeable in bankruptcy court. So student loans, even though they aren't really secured, you should consider them secured debt. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to rank each secured debt from highest interest rate to lowest. Your secured debts should be paid first, since you don't want to face repossession or legal judgments. For all your secured debts, what you're going to do is you're just going to continue paying the regularly scheduled amounts. You're not going to make any additional payments for now unless you have no unsecured debt to pay. If that's the case, then you'll follow the waterfall approach that I'm about to talk about to pay off your secured debt more quickly. Now, go to your unsecured debt. Rank each unsecured debt in the same manner that you rank the secured debt, from the highest interest rate to the lowest. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this waterfall approach when deciding what order to pay them. What this means is that you want to start working on the highest interest debt first, but continue making minimum payments on the rest to avoid damaging your credit. Once you pay off the highest interest rate, then you're going to move on to the next highest. And you're going to keep doing this until all your unsecured debt is paid off. Then you're going to turn your focus to the secured debt, which is typically lower interest rate that you've been making minimum payments on, really important. All right? You can't be successful at getting rid of all your bad debt if you're only making the minimum payment. So what you have to do is you have to decide how much extra each month you can allocate toward paying things off more quickly, and that's what you're going to attack that highest credit card balance with, or the highest interest rate balance with. Sorry about that. So once you then pay off a debt, what you're going to do is you're going to take the amount that you were paying on that debt and then you'll put it towards the next one. If you get a bonus or a raise at work, an inheritance from a rich uncle maybe, or some other lump sum, use it to get rid of bad debt. Some people will consider because it's tempting to consider a quick fix in the form of debt consolidation. What this means is you're taking a number of debts, you're combining them into one large debt, often collateralized with a mortgage to allow for a lower interest rate. Bad idea. Not 100% of the time, but generally, this is not a good idea, and for two main reasons. First, for most, excessive spending is the problem, and the excessive debt is the symptom. Therefore, consolidation very often enables those with bad financial habits to just turn around and spend more and get in deeper. Second, your debt becomes spread out over a longer period of time now, meaning that you really end up paying more interest in the long run. Dealing with debt is not fun. It's not rosy, okay? But you can do it. You just have to decide it's a priority. It's going to take commitment, determination, and hard work to see through to the end result. But if you follow the guidelines that I just gave you, the steps that I just gave you, you will have a systematic plan to eliminate your bad debt and put yourself that much closer to true financial independence.